The reason why your AI content might be too generic is because if you're just opening a ChatGPT chat window and asking it to say, write an article about B2B marketing best practices, all ChatGPT is going to do is basically regurgitate other people's content. So it's probably going to give you generic advice and it's going to be written like other people's writing style. And that writing style may or may not be good. So there's really two key pieces to making your ChatGPT content less generic and sound more like you. There's the substance. In other words, it's writing about your unique points of view and your unique insights. And then part two is the writing style. And that's what I'm going to cover in this video. I'm going to show you how to reverse engineer ChatGPT's analysis of your writing style or of writing that you like, and then use that to prompt ChatGPT to write like you or potentially even better than you. So the reason why this reverse engineering approach works so well is because writing style is actually pretty subjective. It's opinion-based. The way one writer describes a writing style might be different than the way I would describe the writing style, and then ChatGPT might describe it in a third way altogether. So it's really important to get on the same page with ChatGPT about the writing style that you want and make sure you're speaking the same language, so to speak. So let's dive in and I'll show you how to reverse engineer ChatGPT's writing analysis into your prompts. So I created a custom GPT that will actually analyze the writing style of any content that you send it through this message bar. You don't need to use my GPT to do it. It's free to use and it comes pre-programmed to really focus on B2B content as opposed to fiction content or anything else like that. It will give you the most important elements of the writing style that you need in order to then engineer a prompt to match that style. So it'll save you a lot of time. If you want to use it, just search for it on the GPT store. Now I'll walk you through an example. I wanted to write a piece about how to make your content with ChatGPT less generic, very meta, I know. So the way I did that was first go into my personal swipe file of content that contains both my content and other people's content that I like and is in a writing style that I might want to use for inspiration. This is kind of a technique that ad copywriters use and designers use to get inspiration and get past that blank page. And I'm now using this in the content marketing sphere. Again, I'm creating a post about, I would categorize it as a tip post. In other words, I'm giving people advice on how to create less generic content. And so I went into my swipe file and looked at all the posts that are in that same category of content, a tip post. And I found this one that I really liked. And I think this could be good inspiration for my piece. But I'm not just going to tell ChatGPT to write based on what I think about this content. I'm going to get its thoughts on its content. So I'll tell you the way I think about it, and then we'll see the way ChatGPT thinks about it, and we'll see how, why this reverse engineering process is so valuable. So there's a few things that I like about this content. First off, it follows like just a really simple but clear story flow. Here's this commonly held wisdom. And then the author paces and leads a little bit, which is a good persuasion tactic. So he says, I agreed with you. I thought this was a silly approach. And then he tells a story about, but then 5 months later, I had to shut down my company and my co-founder left. So he uses a little bit of fear persuasion. And then it ends with, what he learned and what he does different now. And it's all very concise. I like some of the vocabulary he uses. He laughed at the advice instead of just saying he disagreed with it. All the sort of vocabulary and terminology here is very simple and straightforward. It's really easy to read. So that's kind of what I liked about the post, but let's see what ChatGPT thinks about the writing style. So I plugged it into my writing style analyzer GPT, and here's how ChatGPT thinks about this. And it's quite different from what I thought. And, one thing really stands out for me here is it describes the tone as rueful. And I didn't even know what that term meant. So, really good to get on the same page with ChatGPT here. And so what I do now is I'm not just trying to copy anybody's content. I'm just trying to use some of the techniques as inspiration and be able to prompt ChatGPT the way that it wants to be prompted. So this gives me a baseline that I then iterate on. And here is the prompt that I actually gave to ChatGPT, including these writing style elements here. And I do embed a little bit of my own knowledge here into the prompt. This is like a very basic way to add substance to your content, but I'll show you some more advanced ways to do this in future videos. Right now, I'm just focused on like the writing style piece. And I got a pretty good piece of content back that I actually used to write the beginning of this article that I wrote and a LinkedIn post as well. And I did still edit the draft that ChatGPT made for me, but the writing is a lot better. It came up with some really good ideas, like a metaphor that I used, and overall just like a really good piece of content that I didn't need to edit nearly as much as I would have if I had just used the prompt that I thought would be best for ChatGPT. And I think it's actually even better than if I had written it on my own, to be honest. And it's just saved me a ton of time compared to writing it, or, compared to iterating on prompts over and over again with ChatGPT and then still having to do a ton of editing. So this was really quick for me to make. So quick recap: create a personal swipe file of content of yours and content of other people's that you like, that you can use to get inspiration from for content that you're making. Ask ChatGPT to analyze one piece of content that is similar to the content that you're trying to make. And you can use my writing style analyzer GPT to do that. Based on ChatGPT's analysis, reverse engineer your prompt, do a little bit of editing, and boom, you're going to have a really great piece of content. Hope this is helpful. Let me know. Thanks.